Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundy, how you doing today?
Doing pretty all right so far. Yourself?
I'm doing really good. I'm
Yeah, 'cause your team's
so
1-0.
yeah, and I'm just glad we're back watching hockey, man.
Yeah.
Like the last few days, I've been just turning on. It's like in the background of whatever I'm doing. I'm just like, if there's a game on, just throw it on. I don't even care who's playing.
Exactly. And I kind of did that throughout preseason, but then it was also like these games are kind of, in the sense, almost kind of pointless. Like, it's not as good as regular season, I guess, is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
especially depending on what team it was, because some teams were playing like none of their NHL talent, and some of them were
Playing all of them. And so it's
playing
like,
all of them.
yeah, so like it was just kind of a complete mismatch. It wasn't really a close game or good game, but to have these games now that you've got the full lineups and whatnot, it's good for it to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I was watching especially because obviously I'm a Lightning fan, and none of the Tampa Bay games, at least in Calgary where we are, were available to stream in the preseason. Even though I have like the Sportsnet Now package where you're supposed to get like all the games.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot of them for teams.
Yeah.
Like, I know San Jose didn't really have any, but the one that they did was they were playing LA. I can't remember where they were playing, but it wasn't good quality. Like they had these big pop-up light things they had set up in the two corners, so on the close side of the camera, when it was in either corner, you couldn't see and anything that was happening there. So it kind of took out huge parts of the game. You couldn't see anything happen because it wasn't the good quality, and that's a lot of what preseason games are. Is it's more so just for getting people in the stands and teams to be playing. It's not really for as much for spectators not at the games now.
Yeah. And just on that quality thing, like obviously, there's better quality streams at some points, but I'm not going to pretend to know, the camera's specific specs or anything. But I know that the NBA, MLB, and NFL, I'm pretty sure all use the same cameras, and the NHL have like yet to upgrade to that level of camera and visual quality. So I'm hoping in the next couple of years they'll like make that next upgrade to whatever it is, like 8K HD or whatever.
I will say though, with those other like ones, like the all the other
The
leagues,
other
it's
sports
also
streams.
like it's also you got to consider, I guess. I don't know if it plays a part in it. I'm just kind of throwing shit around for fun, but I think it's the fact that there's a lot more close up interactions that can be had, like especially in the NFL, the way they can have the cameras, kind of right there in the field or over top of the guys, and um, maybe some. I don't know. I don't really watch much basketball or baseball, but maybe that. And so I think maybe that's kind of a big part of it. Is just I just don't think there could be a consistency throughout the broadcast of like the same crisp quality type of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. They got especially you really notice it in football more than anything else. They got the big camera like floating over top, and they got like it's got like the four cables connecting to it. It like flies around after the play.
Yeah, and also the NHL just makes the least amount of money out of
Yeah.
the four major leagues, so maybe that's also probably the main reason, actually.
Yeah. So I guess
Jan Ruda just got crunched.
Oh no!
By the way, I have the Sharks game on right now. They're in the third period getting stomped by Vegas, but yeah, Ruda just got dunked. Oh, I think I might have. Okay, I'm gonna wait for the replay. I'm not gonna say anything yet. Well, anyways, we'll continue. I just had to point that out.
So yeah, I was watching currently the Lightning are 1-0. Their Kucherov scored the number one bullshit goal of the NHL season. Got a big win over the Predators. The Golden Knights tonight are looking for their second win already. Bedard got at this point he's got his first point and his first goal. Fantilli just got his first NHL point earlier today. There's some really good hockey going on already. Like the Canucks absolutely stomped the Oilers 8-1. That was a surprising stat line to look at after the fact. Brock Besser with 4 goals, JT Miller and Elias Pettersson both with 4 points, a goal and 3 assists each.
There's been a lot of big starts, and first points will not to start this season. Ruda's also fine, by the way, because I know you love him. So, but it looks like he's okay. He just got a teammate stick up high. That's what they love to do in San Jose, though.
Oh yeah, they love him. They love bringing him up to chin level.
Anyways,
Leafs beat Canadians 6-5 in a shootout.
Dude,
Cheeks got a hattie.
He's also, I think, actually, I don't even know. I don't remember the stats, so I'm not going to say it. But it was something on the lines of, with Ovechkin or something, like out of active players or something like that. Like he's the quickest to get to 300 goals aside from Ovechkin. That makes sense. Good though. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like after watching, because I watched like pretty much the majority of that game yesterday. It feels like it's a different Austin Matthews almost, or not even that, but the one that we're used to seeing. Like he looks like he kind of did a couple years ago when he was just everywhere on the ice. Like he was just getting all those goals, those timely ones. Like and I know it's only one game, like whatever, but if he can maintain even a level close to what he was last night, like he's gonna have a really good year, like a very good year.
Going into the season, the majority of sports books had Connor McDavid as the favorite to win the Rocket Richard Trophy. After that single game, it's Austin Matthews is the favorite on the majority of them now.
Which, I mean, and that's, a little early but it's, again, I don't know, because it's not even out of the question. Like we said, McDavid could go out there and score 82 goals in 82 games if he really wanted to and put his mind to that. So, like, I think Austin Matthews is the better pure goal scorer, but like we said, McDavid can just set his mind to going out there and scoring goals, and he could easily run away with the goal scoring race.
Yeah, and you know what? It's hard to say what he's going to do, because I mean, last season he proved he can do both. He put up. What did McDavid put up last year? 64 goals,
and something like that.
I think he had 64 goals, like 153 points. Like he could put up the mind-shattering point totals in this era, and put up like the second best goal scoring season since probably 95, 96 Lemieux, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm not even sure on the exact year, but yeah, it just goes to show like how just dominant he can be when he's out there, and especially just the goal scoring on top of just getting those assists in general is crazy for him.
Yeah. We got a couple contract extensions to talk about, but before we get to that, I just got something really quick I want to bounce off of you. So right now I'm looking at odds for the Frank J. Selke Trophy winner, so defensive forward of the year. So you can probably guess the top 5. Anze Kopitar a little bit lower than I thought he'd be. He's 5th below Fuchs, Marner, Pettersson, and Barkov.
Okay.
But the big thing that sticks out to me is that Michael Backlund, his odds are 17-1. And then below him, Elias Lindholm at 19. They got
Huh.
better. They got better odds for Michael Backlund than Elias Lindholm. Like
That's an interesting one.
yeah. I was just looking earlier, and I just saw that,
Hmm.
and I was very surprised. Like Lindholm was a finalist 2 or 3 years ago, and we all know how good he can play. Like I'm surprised they have Backlund that high up.
Yeah, that's actually a. Hmm. I don't even have a reasoning for why it would be like that I can think of. Hey, good for Backlund though. Getting some recognition like that, that's huge.
Yeah, it's nice to see people recognize him. Like I don't disagree with him being that high up, but I figured Lindholm would be higher or at the very least the same.
Lindholm's got to be higher. Like they can be on the same. Like Lindholm has to be higher.
Yeah.
So that's very like. Do I think Lindholm's gonna win the Selkie? Like no. But if I could place a bet being like Lindholm's gonna finish with more votes than Backlund, like I would slam that.
Yeah.
I wonder why Backlund's get. I mean, but you know what? It's recognition he really hasn't been getting his whole career, so it's good to see him getting it in some regard now, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some of these contract extensions.
All right, which one do you want to start with? Let's start with Buffalo.
All
Let's
right.
start with Buffalo.
So
Because
we got
okay, actually, I'll wait till you announce it here.
yeah, we got I'll just announce both of them and then we can dissect them afterwards
Together.
So we got Rasmus Dahlin signed a 8-year, $88 million contract extension. So that's 11 per year, which is absolutely massive. And then we got Owen Power also signing a 7-year extension. This one to an AAV of 8.35 mil. So
Dude,
that's
like Buffalo's cooking.
dude, that's a lot of really good talent locked up long
Buffalo's
term and for fairly cheap.
Buffalo might honestly have the best uh contract layout on their team in the league right now.
Yeah. They're definitely up there.
Now, and this is just me. I think that Dahlin's is a little bit of an overpay. Like I think 11 mil is it's up there.
I think it's a lot, but I don't think it's an overpay. I don't think it's unfair for the team at all.
I think a 9.5 to 10 is probably more so where I would have had him landing in. But when you now look at how much, in terms of the value that you're going to be getting out of what Owen Power's going to become, I mean, I think he's already fantastic. But in terms of what he can still, like his game, he can still even get better in over the next course of the next 4 or 5 years. And so that contract is going to be an absolute steal when he hits his peak. And then the money you're saving with Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins on their deals, that money, if it's going towards Dahlin, that's fine, because I think in terms of the value you're getting out of those other three players, it really doesn't matter. Like to have that core four now locked up and just like it just feels so night and day from Toronto and their whole core four type thing when you're looking at the money being spent. I mean, the production we haven't gotten from Buffalo yet, but I think that could very well change this year. But man,
we know
they're doing a
rebuild
right over there. Like they are, and a lot of people kind of thought it was doom and gloom there, and they're, just they're in trouble. You got to start the rebuild over and whatnot after, Jack Eichel got traded. But man, I think they've come back even better, all things considered. Like,
yeah, a lot of the guys seem to take the next step.
But dude, I think they've got such a they're just so built for the next foreseeable future, and especially if Devin Levi, like if he, you know, if he turns out to be what it's looking like he's going to be, and then even what like Zach Benson made the team just drafted last year, he looks like he might be one of the best players out of that draft, like a top 5 player. Like
Yeah.
that's just nuts. Like they have just so much potential there for the
Yeah.
future.
They have so many other good guys too. Alex Tuck is great in a top 6 role. Jack Quinn is only getting better. He looks really good. Like they have a shocking amount of like high quality pieces that are all coming together at around the same time. They look like they're going to be a wagon
Well, and also like
in short order here.
for anyone who like knows football, knows that the Buffalo Bills have like one of the craziest and most passionate fan bases in the entire league in the NFL. And so like if the Buffalo Sabres make it to the playoffs and whatnot, like that building could become quite an electric place and quite a tough place to play in. Like I'm just praying to see the Sabres in the playoffs because I think that atmosphere would just be nuts.
Yeah, almost similar to something like Winnipeg, where it's like kind of one of not exactly a small market, but a smaller market, but they just have like this insanely passionate fan base that turns out.
Fan base. Like that relocation just looks like such a massive success in terms of just what the city of Winnipeg has done and the love they've shown for that team. Like it's incredible there. But speaking of Winnipeg,
Incredible transition.
they have a couple of contract extensions that happened together. So we got to talk about them together.
Yeah,
do you want to hit us with them?
Yeah, and luckily for this one, I only really need to Google one of their contracts because they're both the exact same.
I mean, I do know what they are, but I was just
these ones were not as hard to remember as whatever I just said. Owen Powers was like 8.35
penny pinchers, and it's paying off, man. They try and get it down as low as possible to where the other party's happy. Like their contracts are nuts.
No, yeah, they legitimately look like they were all crafted on like EA Sports. Like they look like they were on chill. Like it
when you
looks
see
like
those big
they actually put in like 0.85 on the calculator and like saw the lowest amount they could possibly get them to take.
Exactly. Like it's crazy. Like every time you see those big extensions, it's like a rounded number or in between like a half mil or something, or like a quarter or a third or something. But like Darlene's was nice and round, but Powers was a little not as much. But anyways, Winnipeg.
Jets. So we got Connor Hellebuck and Mark Scheifele both signing 7-year contract extensions, kicking in after this year, both with an AAV of $8.5 million.
I think it's awesome. I think that's so, and I don't know, like, I mean, the responses I've seen from people online, like the majority more so seems to be against these and being like, oh, Winnipeg overpaid and all that. But like, I think this is great for them. Like, I really do. I think this just solidifies that they're planning on being contenders and not looking towards a rebuild or anything.
I think that's the biggest part of it. This gives the entire club a clear direction. There's no more, are we going for a slight retool? Is it a rebuild? Are we competing? Because of course, every time publicly asked, the coach, the GM, they have to say, we're trying to win hockey games. Even if you're tanking for number 1 overall, you have to be like, we go out there and play our hardest. But this obviously says we want to win. And I've heard that for both Hellebuck and Scheifele, that the PLD trade this offseason was massive in them wanting to stay. they both really liked the additions that they got from the Kings, and they liked the direction the team was going from that trade, and that really helped them extend. So,
Well, and I said it
big,
from the
big
beginning.
last
Like
couple months.
I thought that trade was huge for Winnipeg. Like I
Yeah,
can see the upside for both teams, but like I just think in terms of the value Winnipeg got, like it's a slam dunk for them. Um, and the thing is, and I people don't like it. Like they don't like the extensions because they're like, oh, it takes Shifley to till he's 38, takes Hellebuck till he's 38. The Hellebuck one is completely fine because if you've got a top, like, I mean, what would you put him? Top 5 goalie in the league? Some
easily a
people might
top
even say
five.
top 3. I don't know, but easy top 5. When you have a top 5 goalie in his prime and you're planning on being a contender, you sign him. Like whatever you have to do, you sign him. Because with goalies, like we've seen with other guys in the past, like a guy like Mike Smith, say, where goalies can still be Craig Anderson as well in Buffalo, where goalies just can still have a very long career and they can still play when they're, in their very late 30s or 40s or whatnot. Like, so
Yeah,
the Hellebuck one's completely fine because the alternative of losing him sets your franchise back so far. And then
yeah,
even the Shifley one, like I just think in terms of what he brings, if you have to swallow that hard cap hit for the final, whatever, 2 years or something, I think the value that you're gonna get out of him in your years of going for and contending makes up for it.
absolutely. And that's what you pay for. He's sitting there going, I want 9.5 million, and you say, okay, we'll give you an extra 2 years if you lower the price, and that's just how it is. And if you win they're contending now. If they win a cup, it does not matter how bad they suck for the next 5 years. They won the cup. Like
Exactly.
that's the ultimate goal. And
And
I definitely completely agree on the Hellebuck thing. Everything you said, like goalies peak later than any other position by quite a bit, and they also are able to play at an effective level quite a bit longer on
yeah,
average. So there you get some guys like Pavelski. I assume Crosby's going to keep playing at this level for a bit, but generally goalies can play for quite an insane amount of time before they start really regressing.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, I think this team's starting to look like a bit of a wagon here.
I really I really like their team. I think they could benefit from maybe bringing in, probably at the trade deadline. Like I think Winnipeg's still going to be, right up there in the hunt, if not in a playoff spot come the deadline. So I think they're going to be buyers. And I think the biggest thing they really just need to look into, I think, is just adding on to their defense.
Yeah,
If you can do something similar to last year, like where Edmonton brought in Matthias Ekholm, if you can find someone like that and make a trade like that work, I think you pull the trigger on because I think that would do wonders for Winnipeg. Like I think their offense is completely fine where it needs to be. I think
especially
rolling with
like that top
guys,
six, that top nine is really good.
yeah. Like I think if you're rolling with that and you kind of your leaders up front are, Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele, I think that's just fine. Hellebuck in net, that's exactly what you want. I think just adding something onto that defense, so almost just kind of maybe to take a little bit of pressure off Josh Morrissey having to be, the guy in every situation. I think if you can, you know, space him out a bit more and bring someone in to help kind of lighten the workload for him, I think would be huge for that team. And I think that's really kind of the big thing they have to focus on, kind of throughout the season.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see them pick up probably closer to trade deadline. Uh, a bona fide top four defenseman. Man,
Yeah.
we are. How many days are we in now? 3 days, 4 days into the NHL season, and I'm already really regretting my placement of Winnipeg on our season predictions.
I can't remember where I put them.
Yeah, I had them
Do I
down
take a
at
look?
I had them down at fifth outside the playoffs.
Oh, I have them in fourth in the Central.
Yeah, I should definitely have Winnipeg and St. Louis switched.
Yeah, and I knew that was going to be an issue for you. Like I still couldn't comprehend why you were just all over St. Louis.
And you know what? People are pretty high on the Stars, and the Blues forced them to a shootout today. So that's a point in the bank.
I'll also say I think a lot of people read into shit too much, especially like I think mostly around Mark Scheifele, but when and again I think Mark Scheifele is very similar to the way we talked about Elias Pettersson before, but when Mark Scheifele wasn't named captain and it was Adam Lowry, people were so quick to be like, well, Scheifele's done, like he's leaving, and it's like I think Mark Scheifele is one of those guys that doesn't want to be the captain. He doesn't want to be in front of the media all the time, taking all the hard hitting questions. He wants to just focus on going out there and playing hockey and doing what he can to, just lead the team on the ice in terms of his production and his play. So, and I think, you know what, and it clearly shows it. He's sticking around even though he's not going to be the captain, because I don't think he ever wanted to be. Or even if he did, it wasn't a deal breaker for him. It wasn't something that, meant the world to him type of thing.
Yeah, I think very underratedly, hockey players are so much more low key than other major stars. Like, dude, like some of the most introverted NFL and NBA players are probably going to be more out there than your average NHL player. Like, NHL players just so often like keeping themselves, and I'm sure Crosby, McDavid, Bedard, as they were growing up, they were kind of told how to be a bit of a leader because people were like, they're destined for greatness. They're going to be the team captain and this and that. But these other guys who end up getting really good, some of them, it's like, you might not have been always told that. And, you don't grow up with that thought of, I'm going to be a captain. I'm going to be the guy who rallies the troops in the locker room. Some guys are just like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to play hockey with the boys. And you know what? That's totally fine. Like, not every guy who's top on the team needs to be the captain.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better. It's exactly the way I feel about it. Also, one thing I wanted to throw out there, just talking about, Crosby and Pittsburgh and whatnot. The game on whatever day it was, Tuesday, Crosby, Malkin, and Letang playing together, they officially became the longest active trio to play together in professional sports history now. What I think it was 18 seasons or something.
18 seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
Longest trio in North American sports history. I don't know who's higher somewhere else in the world, but it's always, everywhere I see it listed, it's like in the big four sports in North America.
Oh, yeah. So which is still
there must be three
huge
dudes who played, I don't know, pickleball or something.
I mean, hey, still, that's pretty good for Pittsburgh. I mean, they ended up losing to Chicago of all teams, but it happens, I guess, right?
They want the cup, man. They're going for it.
Dude, Pittsburgh's going for Celebrini already.
Hell yeah.
No, that's San Jose's job. They're already doing a perfect job of it right now.
It's honestly incredible.
Even though he played in San Jose growing up when he was like in his teens.
Oh, that's sick.
And his dad worked for I think he worked for something with the Golden State Warriors. So he was already in the area and whatnot. So it's like, just come home. Like, if people think Austin Matthews is going home, like, nah, man. No. Anyways.
First they need an arena, but.
No, but honestly, like, it's been actually a pretty, like, good start to the season, I'd say. Quite a few close games, couple fun games. Like, it's... Again, we're only...
That
3 days
Tampa Nashville game, like, obviously I'm biased because Tampa won, but that was a really fun game to watch. Like,
that was a good game.
There was a lot of hitting. Holy crap, dude! Chernak was playing like it was the playoffs. He was fucking destroying people when they crossed the blue line. We got a huge reverse hit from one of our guys, young guys who, I think it was his first NHL game. Actually, I can't remember his name. It's like Melanin or something. He had a huge reverse hit on Luke Shen. Like, it was a really tough hitting game. but it was really fun to watch.
Speaking of tough and whatnot, Arbor Jack guy fought Ryan Reeves in the season opener. Except Jack guy got the misconduct, so he got the boot from the game. But
Ooh. Who won the fight? I saw headlines about it. I never actually saw it.
I mean,
was there like a decisive winner?
There wasn't really like a whole lot of punches thrown. I mean, Jack guy won the fight.
Nice.
He didn't really get many punches. It was more so he basically just manhandled and threw around Reeves and pushed him into the net. But like no real punches were thrown. But like Reeves got he got pushed around. So I mean, if there was one, I'd say it was Jack guy, but not really a clean or decisive win.
That's fair. Yeah, there is
still a good fight.
Man, there's a couple things to dissect about just random games. You know, the Flames looked really good in their season opener against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really
Michael
good.
Backlund is want to know his captain.
Really good winning goal there from Lindholm. A great pass. Like, I can't remember if he did like a spinorama pass from behind the net or between his legs, but Mangiapane had a huge setup.
Around, yeah.
Yes. Pasternak had 2 goals in his first.
Dude, Luch had an assist.
Game.
Luch had an assist.
All the big guns in the league are coming out swinging. The only real other news that I can think of, other than just talking about how pretty much every game's gone so far this season, is...
We got to talk about the Canucks and Oilers.
Okay.
Like, we got to talk about that. And I know it's only one game, but that's... Holy shit.
When it's that, you talk about it. Like,
yeah. The Canucks cooked them.
8-1.
8-1 Brock Besser, 4 goals. Thatcher Demko playing through the flu. He had his Michael Jordan flu game and threw up in his mask and had to get pulled, man.
Yeah. Apparently threw up in his mask before he got pulled. Like, he was he wanted to play, but apparently he was looking rough.
Dude, it was nuts.
Of course, the one goal being Draisaitl assisted by Bouchard and McDavid.
Yeah, I think it was power play too. I'm gonna double check, but if it was power play, of course it was. Yeah, power play goal. Of course it was.
Brock Besser with 4 goals, 8 shots on goal. Miller and Pettersson both
4
with
points.
Both with 4 points, both with 1 goal, 3 assists. Quinn Hughes with even 3 assists on his first game as the captain.
Yeah, my boy Quinn. Oh, he's gonna have a monster year, man.
Sam Lafferty had
80 plus assists
already over there.
Hey, former Toronto Maple Leaf. What was I gonna say? I had something I wanted to say.
This website has Thatcher Demko stats in here with the players. So just so you know, he has 0 goals for 0 assists, 0 shots on goal.
Oh, okay, word. Yeah,
Casey DeSmith is up there too. Good for him. They're above Tyler Myers.
Dude, I'm surprised Tyler Myers isn't on the Sharks yet, honestly.
He'll get there. You guys need a little extra neck. Also,
if anyone wants to, because I think it's the funniest thing. I think this is the funniest thing. On Tuesday, so the beginning of the NHL season, the NHL put an Instagram post, and when you do multiple pictures at once, it's you can do 10 at a time, right?
Yeah.
So to start the season, they did a thing where they're posting players new updated headshots for the season. So I'm just gonna go through the 10 that they picked, okay?
Okay.
And you tell me if it's fitting or not. They can only pick 10 players to do it with.
So if it makes sense that they'd be the guys at the media availability for this or whatever.
No, because this is just from the teams that from all teams that did their media days, the NHL just took their team photos and put it together. It's kind of just their biggest stars type of thing.
Oh, okay. So basically just are these guys good top 10 of the league marketable?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So the first one, Connor Bedard.
Obviously.
The second one, Connor McDavid.
Of course.
Next up, Sidney Crosby.
Yep.
So Crosby cracked the top 3. At number 4, Jack Hughes.
Yep. They all make like beyond sense at this point. Like
Number 5, Nathan McKinnon.
Yep. I'm just waiting for it.
Number 6, Matthew Tkachuk.
Right.
What am I at? Number 7?
Yeah.
7, Jason Robertson.
Okay, so we're getting a little bit down there now, but like I can definitely still see that.
Number 8, Moritz Seider.
Okay, we're going a little bit more off the board, but like he still won the Calder the other year. Like he's
Number 9, Trevor Zegras.
Yep. He was on the cover of the NHL game.
And number 10, you ready?
Yeah.
Gritty. I'm not even kidding. I actually said to you right now, they just threw him in there at number 10.
Okay, that's good.
It's a pretty good headshot too, actually.
Oh, that's funny. I was so waiting for it to be like Vlad Nemesnikov or something, like just some like grinder or something.
Dude, when I was just scrolling through, man, I thought it was the funniest thing that they just threw Gritty in at the end, and like he just looks so out of it, like he always does. But...
Dude, the guy who runs the Gritty like Twitter account and all that stuff is so good.
So good, man.
Like some dudes just absolutely get it. Like they just understand.
The amount of people that have like actually started actively like rooting for Philly and traveling to Philadelphia to go to Flyers games just to try and interact with Gritty is nuts.
Yeah. Dude, that is exact, especially how bad the team's been lately. Gritty is what they need. Like
I'm surprised him and Torts haven't gotten in a fight yet. Like I'm surprised there hasn't been some interaction that's resulted in them just like chucking fists.
That would be so funny. Like Torts is out like so pissed. They're losing like 9-0. Gritty comes out on the bench and like starts like fucking swinging, like humping the air at him with his big fucking belly. Fucking Torts just lays into him.
Dude, Gritty has no boundaries. He
Gritty
would,
does
honestly.
what he wants when he wants.
But yeah, I just want to throw that because I thought that was very good by the NHL. Like I wasn't expecting that to be at the end. It's funny and hey, it gets me talking about it and whatnot. So there we go.
Absolutely. I mean, so like, yeah, unless you do something like that, unless you do something goofy and fun like that, then it's just a super routine. Here are a bunch of the players. Get ready for hockey. But like that'll actually get people talking about it a bit, sharing it with people and stuff.
Exactly.
I got one other. We got one other big thing. Past that, we might have to ad-lib a little bit. But the NHL announced, I believe over the weekend, or maybe it was last week, that they were going to ban the use of Pride tape in the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw
that. Luckily, I don't think I've seen a single bad take on this by any NHL players. There's been so many players coming out saying, and so many of them are in the most like, don't piss off Bettman way, Crosby, McDavid, Jack Hughes. There's been quite a few guys that have come out, Rasmus Anderson, that have been like, it sucks that we're not able to do this. And the other day, Scott Lawton of the Philadelphia Flyers, he came out and just said, I'm going to keep using this tape, even if that means I have to buy it myself if the team won't provide it. And that is just like that is just such a brass balls maneuver to be like, I'm gonna use Pride tape when it comes to Pride night, and what the fuck are you gonna do about it? He's like, I'm pretty sure he ended the quote with like, if they want to say something, then they'll say it. Because what are they gonna do? This whole thing stemmed from the players who don't want to wear the Pride stuff making the league look bad. How bad is the league gonna look if they fine a guy for using Pride tape on Pride Night. That is going to be like such a huge L for the league that I just love that Scott Lawton went out there and just said it.
And I think it's very funny that he's the guy to say it when this whole kind of thing originated from his former teammate Ivan Provorov being the first guy to be like, I'm not doing it. And to the point where he didn't even partake in warm-ups for that game because he refused to do it. And that's kind of, and like you said, you hit the nail on the head. That's kind of where the whole thing started for, Pride Night and just anything of Pride in general being canceled kind of within the NHL stemmed all the way back from Provorov deciding not to partake in it. And then it's led to other players not doing it, and to the point where the league completely abolished it as a whole. It's a terrible look on the league to, instead of, it's basically like you're at a point where it's like, whatever, every player in the league is on side A and you've got 10 or 12 guys on side B. And you're basically
I saw the number is 7. There's been 7 guys who refused to wear the
so you're starting with
Pride
side B of 7 guys as opposed to side A with the rest of the league. And then they keep trying to preach the whole thing of hockey is for everyone. Well, how is it then? If you're willing to scrap ideas and whatnot of trying to create a hockey's for everyone environment, then you can't stand on that leg anymore. They've completely destroyed that for themselves, and they can't use that as a marketable campaign or push that agenda because what they're doing is going completely against that.
Yeah, this isn't the year 2000 anymore, where people haven't really discovered fully that corporations are just gonna say things to make people happy. Like nowadays, as soon as it hits Pride Month and a company that is blatantly not inclusive changes their profile picture to include rainbow colors, everyone sees through that nowadays. Like that, you're not fooling anybody like you might used to be able to. So when they make those empty promises and then turn around and do stuff like this, everyone knows what's happening, and everyone knows how fucked up it is. So
exactly, yeah,
it's huge to see some of these players speaking out about it, especially how hard of a stance Scott Lawton in particular took. There was also reported, I can't remember which reporter, but it was like Greg Wyshynski or something. It was one of the like top 5 like insiders in the league.
Not top 5. I'm sorry, I did say that.
One of these guys reported that several NHL teams, like I think it was upward of 10, had contacted the league and asked them directly, like, what are we supposed to do if these players want to use it? Like what do you want the general manager to go down and tape their sticks with black tape? Like, how are we supposed to stop them? And apparently there was one team that was in this release, and this tweet was left nameless, that called the league and said, we will not stand for this. Also, we're ordering a box of Pride tape. And and yesterday there was a tweet from the San Jose Sharks that was just celebrating Happy Coming Out Day, and they were very outwardly celebrating the LGBT community, which leads me to believe I think it was the Sharks that ordered the Pride tape.
I was about to say, I was going to be like, I'm not going to be like, a home or anything, but I was going to say, I bet it was the Sharks, because based
every
on the
time
reactions,
the Pride stuff's come up, Sharks are very close to the front of talking about stuff.
And especially last year when Reimer didn't partake in actually, I don't know if he didn't partake in warm-ups, but like he made it very clear he wasn't partaking in Pride Night and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like players and management didn't like full out say it, but they made it kind of aware that like they were like not happy with him about it for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was them, and I fully expect at least a few players on that team to, whenever Pride Night is, I fully see them taking part in it.
Yeah. I just want to see the entire league rebel against this. Like, I want to see, like, on Pride Night, not only do I want to see Crosby using the tape, I want to see him taping his stick with it out in front of the crowd, like on the bench in warm up. Like I want everyone to just be like, I don't know what the fuck you're up to, Batman, but we're not standing for it. Like, this is so dumb.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And like it's just
like it's clearly not going to last. Like the
I
NHL
think this is one of those things that gets
they want,
repealed.
but
I think they're going to go back on this one. I feel like something about the outcry on this one feels like there's just a lot more of it than some of the
it's
other
also
things.
like if there's teams that don't believe in it, whatnot. Like, for example, we now know with Chicago, and I'm probably assuming Columbus, but like with Chicago, we saw them where it was like, hey, this is Bedard and Korchinski's. Well, no one really knew it was Korchinski's first game because everything was focused on it being Bedard's first game. So Korchinski no one even really knew or paid attention.
Yeah.
But they were allowed to, for their rookie laps and warm-ups, they went with no helmet because I know with Chicago, I don't know about Columbus, but Chicago told them, like, you know what? It's your first NHL game. You guys go out there with no buckets. We'll pay the fine for you. And so I wouldn't be surprised if teams are like to these guys, like, you know what? If you want to do this and, rock the pride tape or whatever, like, go out there and do it, and we'll cover the fines for you guys because we stand with you and we all believe in the same thing. So, and I could very well see that being a thing where you see lots of players doing, not because the teams are like, we'll pay the fines because we stand with you on this type of thing.
If there are any fines, I don't know, because for the Pride Nights, do you know how they work? Like, each team has probably a home Pride game, right?
I think so.
It's not like all the games on one day. So do we know who has like the first Pride game? Because I'd love.
Idea.
I'm very curious to see if is the league willing to go through with. Because all they said was you're not allowed to use the tape. They didn't say that if you do it, you're going to be fined. It's a little implied when they change a rule, but like,
it looks very
are they
bad
going
on
to?
The league if they fine
that's gonna look horrible. I wore rainbow tape on Pride Night, and I'm being fined for it.
Exactly.
Like, they're gonna look insane if that gets to mainstream media. Like, dude,
it'll look bad.
Dude, John Oliver is gonna be making a show about how fucking stupid Gary Bettman is if that's the case. Like,
yeah, it'll look bad. It'll look bad.
So, I'm glad that within about a week of the NHL having this new rule in place, it seems like there's already been so much outcry and so much rebelling against it. And I'm really glad that I haven't seen any players with any horrible takes. Like, I'm glad I haven't seen any of the stalls be like, good call, Bettman, or anything like that.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how the whole situation, whatnot, kind of plays out from here and what, whatever certain people do or don't, or just the steps people take.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to get to at the moment?
No, I got nothing.
All right, I got one quick little trivia game we can do here. I'll pull up a timer because I do want us to kind of hurry along with it, and not take, not to have too much time in between guesses.
Yeah.
We'll call it an episode after this. So there are 10 active NHL players with 3 Stanley Cups. In my notes, I wrote 10, but I knew they didn't have 10 Stanley Cups. Name all of them without getting any wrong.
Without getting any wrong. Oh, boy.
So I'll give you, once I start the timer, I'll give you 30 seconds in between each guess. And then you got to go on to the next one. There's 10 guys that are active in the NHL with 3 Stanley Cups.
Okay, wait. Okay, I just gotta try and think of like within my head quickly, so I can like space them out if I'm running out of time.
Give you a little time to warm up here, but if you don't get them all, like it's not that bad. But
okay.
All right, he's thinking. I imagine you've got at least probably like 3 or 4 that you can think of at the start here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start the clock here, and I'll let you know once you get to like 10 seconds left each time.
Okay.
I'll keep you up or something like that. I'll keep you updated on the clock, but I'll need the answer before it gets to 30. All right, ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Go.
Okay, active players with so. Okay, I'm gonna start with Pat Maroon.
Pat Maroon, that's 1.
Sidney Crosby.
Crosby's 2.
Malkin.
Malkin's 3.
Letang.
Letang's 4.
Fleury.
Fleury's 5.
Does Taves and Kane count still?
Yes.
Okay, so Taves and Kane then.
That's 6, 7. Right? Yeah, there's only 3 more.
Only 3 more. Active players.
You're at 15 seconds.
Okay, I've got one, but I'm trying to just
10
hold
seconds
on
left.
and save my time.
Yep. 6, 5.
Okay,
4.
Alec Martinez.
Alec Martinez. That's 8. Surprised you got the Alec Martinez. That was in my summation the hardest one.
Oh, well then with Alec Martinez, Phil Kessel.
Phil the Thrill. That's 9.
Oh,
only 1 more.
And Jonathan Quick.
And Jonathan Quick. That is all 10. Nicely done.
Because I started to think, I was thinking like maybe someone recent on Vegas who like they got. I was like Martinez, and then it just kind of rattled on off guys that won their 3rd there with Vegas last year.
Yeah, that's nicely done. That was really good.
Some were kind of laps. I wasn't sure if it would count, or whatever you're going off of counted Taves and Kane as active players because they're not under contract this year or anything.
Yeah. They played last year and they hadn't retired yet, so
yeah.
You know, if they don't play this year and don't retire, then I wouldn't count them as active, but
yeah.
I saw a video of I think it was a couple guys in the TSN office doing that on like a YouTube short or something. And I was just thinking like I feel like I probably would have got most of those. I don't think I would have remembered Alec Martinez.
Yeah, he was kind of the first one actually to come to mind for me. But that's also because he's made the Sharks' lives living hell for his entire career. So
yeah, that's fair. You're a lot more familiar with him over there,
and because he scored the biggest goals for the LA Kings in the playoffs. So
true.
I think he had a really big goal for Vegas last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
I can't remember, but he probably did because that's what he does in the playoffs. I don't have anything else to talk about. I don't know if you had anything.
No, I think that's all, but that's totally fine. We'll probably end up at some point over the weekend or maybe at the start of next week popping out another episode. Keep up to date on whatever's going on.
Yeah, because even though, we're only through the first 3 days, there's still quite a few teams that have yet to even play a game. So we'll kind of come back and whatever. We'll figure out a day and time. We'll come back and kind of so we can recap on those teams and the early starts to their season as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of teams like just at a brief glance here, it looks like the Hurricanes are having their first game on Saturday, and at that
I think they
point,
played yesterday.
And at that point, the Blackhawks are playing like. Oh, they did play yesterday. You're right.
I know the Islanders and the Ducks.
Yeah, the Ducks haven't played
first
either.
games on.
But on that Saturday, the Blackhawks and the Penguins are both playing like their third game. Like,
yeah,
they're some of these teams are freaking
really
going early.
For Baron Crosby, man.
Yeah, man, it was a little disheartening watching that first game, that Tampa versus Nashville, because it was such a good game and fun game to watch, but they just wouldn't stop talking about Bedard. And like, I get it, I get why, but like, man, call the action a bit. Brian Callahan did a very good job on I think he was the color commentator.
Okay.
I think that was his first time doing that, and he did a really good job.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him still finding something to do outside of playing in the NHL.
But yeah, I think probably going forward in the regular season, I think we're planning on, for the most part, doing shorter episodes, 2 episodes a week. The Friday one, I think we're going to consistently do, but the other one's kind of going to be depending on what goes on in the league and what the schedule's like. If we feel like we need to cover something from the weekend, it'll be a Monday, maybe a Tuesday, maybe a bit earlier. So
yeah, it's kind of playing it by ear and
gotta be a little flexible with it.
At the time. Yeah, exactly right.
And maybe we'll start when we upload those ones that are not at the usual time. Maybe we'll start tweeting out that we're uploading them.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea. For those who want to get in on that, we are now. I mean, we have been for a bit, but really haven't been doing much with it. But we are now on Twitter /X, whatever you prefer to call it, as well as Instagram. On both of those, we do go by the exact same handle, SEU Hockey. So the letters S, then E, and then U Hockey. You can put that in. Find us on both Twitter and Instagram, where we'll start to be putting out more hockey-related content now that the season's kind of going and we have stuff to work with, because the off-season wasn't much to post. We weren't really on top of it, but now that the season's going, we are looking to
do a little more fan engagement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, put a little more stuff out there than just the 1 or 2 podcasts. So that'll be fun to kind of reach out a little bit and just on some of the smaller things that don't make their way onto the podcast, get a couple more takes out there on just smaller plays, cool plays, fun hits, whatever.
Exactly right, for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you to everybody for tuning in and listening to another episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. Like Braden said, we will be uploading our usual times every Friday at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. So that's 2 o'clock Eastern Time and 11 a.m. over Pacific Time. And then kind of just throughout the weeks, we'll be throwing out other random episodes just based off what's going on in the league. So you can check out those socials as mentioned to, kind of get early access to when those are going on. Feel free to also throw some questions on there. We've kind of mentioned it before, but we're open to, doing a small segment either at the beginning or the end, kind of just reading through what you guys think around the league and kind of giving our thoughts and feedback on that. So feel free to do that. But again, thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys in the next one.